Welcome back to the Big Leagues podcast, episode 4. I'm David. It's my co-host Isaac. Back with another episode here. So last episode, put my hair on the line. Back Canelo Alvarez. He got the unanimous decision. Dominated Charlo. Only lost one round. Scored a knockdown. The bet was never in question.
Man, Charlo was just running basically the whole fight. He didn't even at the end there. He wasn't even trying to fight. He was basically just backing off, and Canelo was just piecing him up. I thought it was gonna be a lot closer. I thought Charlo, even though he's a big underdog, I was thinking coming into the fight he might have a chance, but Canelo just showed he's the way better fighter.
Yeah, Charlo just never gained Canelo's respect. Canelo was just able to walk him down, put him against the ropes, land big shots, and Charlo really had no answer.
Yeah.
I also saw today that McGregor apparently entered the USADA pool, so he'll be eligible to return in 6 months, just in time for UFC 300.
Yeah. Well, is his plan still to fight Chandler? Because I'm pretty sure that's probably Dana's plan, but
yeah, I think it's still gonna be Chandler.
Yeah. Well, it's about time he got in Dana USADA. It's been about 8 months of him where he was supposed to him and Chandler supposed to get the fight going. But
I think he had to wait a certain amount of time to let some substances clear the system. But
yeah, definitely.
In his defense, he did have that gruesome leg injury, so it's not I don't think he was just juicing to juice. I think it was part of the recovery, which to expect someone to recover from a leg snap like that under USADA regulations, I don't think is really that fair when it could be life-changing injury.
But so do you see how massive he is looking in some of the pictures, man? He's been juicing. The man's looking yoked, looking crazy big.
Yeah, so this was what I was thinking. It's never gonna happen, but just imagine if McGregor goes in, fights Chandler, sparks him in round 1, just absolutely bounces his head off the canvas, and Colby beats Leon, and then one of them gets on the mic and just starts talking shit.
Yeah.
Dana's eyes are gonna light up like Mr. Krabs. He's gonna book it. If anyone can skip the line, it's Conor.
And Dana would love Conor to get a belt. If he beats Colby, Dana would be melt. Dana would be.
Colby versus Conor, that's gonna be that would be one of the biggest fights ever. That'd be so crazy.
That the press conference would be just as good as the fight, man. It'd be hilarious. Colby and Conor just going at each other, man. That'd be so funny.
McGregor definitely wouldn't deserve it. I could name 8 people that would deserve it over him, but I just think Dana would just see straight money. He would just be swimming in money from that fight.
And that'd be a fight more people everyone would want to see that fight over probably Usman, maybe a third fighter, any Bilal Muhammad or any of them other guys.
No one cares about Bilal Muhammad.
Yeah, but Conor versus Colby, could you imagine? That'd be crazy. That'd be nuts.
Nuts.
Conor wins and he fights Islam. Double tie. That'd be crazy.
Fun to dream. I don't think it'll ever happen, but.
Did you watch any of the Jays? Any of the Blue Jays playoffs?
I caught a little bit of it, but pretty disappointed in that.
God, man, watching those 2 games, it just reflected the whole Blue Jays. And just, big disappointment. I really wanted them to face Minnesota because Minnesota, they're not a great team. They're good, but I don't know. The Jays they could not hit. Only 1 run in 2 playoffs.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's just there must be something with all these Toronto teams in the playoffs just being absolute chokes. Classic Toronto.
Just some unexcusable mistakes too on the Blue Jays' part.
First of all, John Schneider taking out Jose Barrios, who was dealing scoreless through 3, their second best pitcher, takes him out for a Yusei Kikuchi in the 4th inning, gets beat up. And after that, Vlad, gets picked off on second base when he got a runner on second and third. I don't know how you let that happen. You're gonna get picked off when the tying runs on second base with your best hitter up. Like,
yeah, and in such like a crucial moment of the game like that, that's just an unexcusable mental error. Like, it's a lack of discipline. It's just, like it's honestly a lack of respect for your teammates. Like,
and
you should be ashamed of yourself, like to just let your team down like that in a big moment. And it's one thing like if you make like oh you strike out or whatever, yeah, like that's too bad. But like a mistake like that, that's just a lack of discipline. It's just a mental thing. Like that's unexcusable.
like getting picked off with your season on the line, like that just any manager will tell you, like that just can't happen. Like that's what they all preach, like no base running errors and stuff like that, and like that just I don't know. I was losing my mind when I saw that.
Yeah,
crazy.
And I guess some other big news is Jrue Holliday getting traded to the Celtics. Celtics acquire Jrue Holliday. Trailblazers acquire Malcolm Brogdon, Rob Williams, a 2024 first-round pick from the Warriors, and a 2029 first-round pick from the Celtics. Big deal.
Big deal. Like now there's just two massive powerhouses in the East with Boston and Milwaukee making these two big deals. But
yeah,
really like Boston's. Like I like their starting five a lot. I'm not sure if they're gonna start Derek White or Horford, but Jrue Holiday, Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis, like that's a nice big four.
Yeah,
and they mesh well together too. I really think that they're playing.
They got options. Like I feel like they could match different teams like based on what team they're playing. One night they could go kind of more small. One night they could go kind of more big. And their depth's a little shaky, but I honestly think they got enough around the edges to support it.
I was gonna say that they lost a lot of the pieces off their bench from last year, like Grant Williams. They lost in free agency, and now to get rid of Brogdon, who was your sixth man last year, and also Robert Williams, even sometimes,
and like Marcus Smart too.
Well, he was more of a starter, but I'd say Jrue Holiday a good upgrade for Marcus Smart.
Oh, for sure. Jrue Holiday's really good.
Yeah, he is. But would you after these two deals, do you favor the Bucks or do you favor the Celtics?
That's a great question. It's really close. I think gun to my head, I think I would go Bucks. I think it's safe to kind of like let's match those two teams up. Bucks have the best player in that matchup. Celtics probably Tatum's probably the second best player, but Bucks also would have the third best player in that matchup.
Yeah.
And I just think that Dame and Giannis just complement each other so well. Like Giannis with the rim protection, Dame with like the perimeter scoring and ball handling that they've been missing. But the Bucks' depth is also pretty shaky right now. I think both teams will definitely be involved or try to be involved at least in the buyout market and around the fringes to try to tighten up the rotations. But it's going to be a great like battle in the Eastern Conference for sure.
They both.
Who do you favor?
I'd probably say Bucks because I think Giannis is the best player in the world right now, and I think Dame just really brings what they've missed over the last few years is like an elite half court scoring like point guard, to like create a shot, and I think Dame's one of the best in the league at that, and I think they're going to be so hard to stop on offense, and also when you have Giannis and Brook Lopez, like their defense is going to be still pretty good as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think though them and the Celtics are the top two teams now in the East by far. Like I'd say.
Yeah, I guess I'd have to throw Denver in there out of respect, but I think those are the top three in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sure you probably got the Lakers in there.
Man, the Lakers bench is really good. Like it's under.
I'm sure we'll get into the Lakers in a future podcast.
We'll talk to them. I'll be bragging about them in basketball season.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear lots about them in episodes to come. And then what do you think about that on the side of the Blazers?
The Blazers, I really like what they've done. Like I don't think that's for Jrue Holliday that's a pretty solid return, but I really like what they got back for Dame, and now to bring in 2 more first round picks and some solid role players in Brogdon and Robert Williams. I think they're putting Scoot and they're in a good place to develop Scoot and Shaden Sharp, and Ayton, who's not old, a pretty solid big man. So I like I think Portland's in a better situation now than they were a month ago, for sure.
Yeah. So the total return on Dame, Ayton, Brogdon, Rob Williams, and how many firsts did they get?
They got 2 for Holiday, and I think they got 2 in a pick swap for Dame.
Right. Yeah. So like four firsts and a swap.
4 first.
Ayton, Brogdon, Rob Williams. That's a pretty that's a good package for Dame. I think that's about value, about my value.
I think that's a great return for Dame, and I think the Portland GM did a great job, and I think Portland.
It's better than the Heat offer, I think.
Definitely. Well, like Tyler Hero and picks and Jovic maybe is kind of what they're looking at from there, and Lowry, I guess.
I don't think that's a bad offer, but I do think they got a better one in my opinion.
But Miami was also trying to lowball for so long. They weren't getting adequate value, and they paid.
I've heard that the top offer that was being brought up, I don't even know if that's been offered from what I've heard around the league.
They weren't even offered. That's
the top Hero, picks, Jaquez, Jovic. I don't even know if that was even offered.
Because
I also heard that the Clippers were in on Jrue Holliday big time.
Yeah.
And the Heat were in on Jrue Holliday. And I also heard the Jazz were in on Holiday a bit, but not too much.
Yeah.
I think the Clippers and the Heat kind of need to make a move.
They do, for sure. I think, I guess James Harden now is back to practicing with Philly, so
yeah, I don't think that's gonna I don't think that's gonna last. I think he's either gonna cause a stink or kind of do what he did in Houston and fourth and just cause shit and just fuck everything up.
But I could see if he gets playing and they're doing well, I could see Harden I could see him riding it out and playing with Phil because he likes the players he's around there, but he just hates it.
I just think the bridges are burned there,
So. I don't think he'd sit out. It's the thing. I think he actually wants it. I don't think he's the type of guy to he didn't even sit out with Houston when he wanted out. But
yeah, that is true.
I'm not sure, but I think Miami's in shambles now. Now that Boston and
yeah, I think if they could make a move, I think they could be up there. I don't know if they'll be on the same level as Boston and Bucks, but I still think they're a top 5 team in the East at least.
Yeah, for sure. Probably them, Boston, Philly. Would you still say Philly's definitely a top 5 team if Harden is playing, but I'd say maybe.
I mean, even without
yeah,
even without Harden, who would you put over him?
I don't maybe. I don't think Brooklyn's good. I don't think Atlanta.
Knicks, Cavs.
Cavs are good. I like the Cavs.
Good. And they're they got some guys that could be taking steps too. Mobley and Garland are still really young.
And Garland's really
Garland's rated.
That's a top 3-5 backcourt in the league. Definitely.
Easily.
They got two. I think it's one of the best backcourts in the league, and they got Mobley was looking really good his rookie year. Last year he didn't improve too much. If he could take a step, then they could definitely.
I'd like to see them move Jared Allen personally.
I think so too. I
don't like the fit with Jared Allen and Mobley. I think if they could move Jared Allen for a 3-and-D swing guy, big forward, I think they'd be looking good and have Mobley kind of take over that center position more. I think that would be good for them.
Well, they brought in Strus and George Niang, which I don't even know. It depends how he's playing, I guess, but
they can shoot, but I don't know. I don't like them on the defensive end, which is I think kind of a problem for the Cavs. That fifth kind of because they got Garland, they got Mitchell, they got Mobley, they got Allen. It's who's that fifth guy that's really key for them.
They were starting Isaac Okoro, who just ain't it.
He can shoot. That was the thing.
But
shoot.
I said they little shooting with Strus and Niang, but I think they'll definitely, like, I was really surprised when they lost the Knicks last
Me
year.
too.
But I think they'll be a top 5 seed for sure, 5 or 4, I'd say.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on NBA before we transition to NFL?
No, we can dive into the NFL, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Big game last week, Dolphins Bills. Dolphins were buzzing after the 70-point victory. Bills were buzzing with a couple blowouts of their own, and Bills just showed who was boss in that game. They kind of put Dolphins in their place and proved that they're kind of still on top of the division.
No, makes me happy, makes me smile seeing the Dolphins get blown out. And I was calling it all week, saying I thought the Bills were winning that game, even though it's a close game. I thought it was gonna be
we both said on the podcast we both picked Bills. Noah picked Dolphins.
Yeah, I just thought the Dolphins were due after like such a all-time like performance against the poverty Broncos. I thought it'd be a really tough game in Buffalo, and you know
I think that matchup's personal for Buffalo too.
I think last year Miami came into Buffalo and was like, Mike McDaniels loves to talk about Buffalo, so I think it was pretty personal, and Josh Allen had a masterclass, and Stephon Diggs, man, that touchdown spun off 2 tackles, taking him to the crib.
Oh,
Crazy touchdown.
Yeah.
Better games by the Bills.
Our buddy Dan was at the game. We were hoping to get him on, get his thoughts on it, because he's a big Dolphins fan, but couldn't make it on for this one. I'm sure we'll get him on sometime in the future.
Yeah.
I was hoping to ask him about, like, if that matchup, if we see that matchup again in the playoffs, like his confidence level on that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think that plays out in the playoffs?
I'd lean Bills. Like, I know it's my little bias considering they just blew them out, but
yeah,
I like the Bills defense a lot more than I like Miami's, and I think
the Bills lost Tre'Davious White, season-ending injury. That hurts them.
That's a big loss, but it's Von Miller might be back in London, but probably one of the next few weeks they're going to get Von Miller back.
That's a big addition for them.
Big addition, and I just think Josh Allen's better than Tua, so with the better defense and the better quarterback, and they both got some pretty talented skill position players, I'd lean Buffalo in the playoffs.
Yeah,
especially Buffalo too, because
in Buffalo too, yeah.
Type of weather, it'd be tough.
Yeah,
for Miami.
Yeah. Losing Tre'Davious White's tough, but the Bills' defense does, I think, match up stylistically pretty well against the Dolphins' offense. And really, in playoff matchups, I like to, at the end of the day, if it's close, I usually tend to lean on the side of who has the better quarterback. And the Bills really aren't losing that matchup to anyone except the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think I would also probably have to lean Bills. Another big matchup that could come down late in the season, the playoffs, is happening this week. Cowboys versus 49ers.
Yeah.
2 top teams. How do you think that one plays out?
I'm gonna lean Niners. I think the Niners are probably the best team in football right now. They're playing.
Agreed.
Their defense is top 3 in the league, I'd say. Brock Purdy,
playing well.
I just don't know where to rank him right now in the league because he doesn't make many mistakes. I know he's got elite options everywhere around him, and he's in the perfect situation, but he just does what he has to get the win. The man's yet to lose a game where he's played, and the only game he lost was to the Eagles where he didn't have a damn arm. So
yeah,
I think and CMC, man, I think he might.
If there's a player that's a non-QB that could win MVP, CMC this year is up there.
I'd say CMC, I might have a little bias, but I'd say he's probably the best offensive weapon in the league right now. That ain't a quarterback.
I mean, I think it's debatable, but I don't think that's an outrageous take by any means.
But it's going to be interesting to see, the Cowboys probably have a top 3 defense in the league, and Dak's yet to have a big game, so it'd be I'd love to see Dak have a big game against the Niners, and because I'm a mild Dak supporter, and I'd like to see him and CD have a big game, which I think is definitely possible.
Yeah. I would also lean 49ers on this one. Like, I think there's got to be a point in time where we got to stop, like, doubting Brock Purdy. Like, yeah, he was last pick in the draft. Yeah, he was the third stringer. But, like, ever since he hasn't lost a game as a starter. Like, he's a really high IQ player, makes the right plays. He is in a favorable system, I'll give him that. But he makes the plays. Like, that's all you can ask for. So,
yeah.
And with those weapons, I agree. 49ers are right now, for my opinion, the top team in the league. I'd also have to give them the edge. Looking at the injury report here,
anyone big out?
So there's on both sides. There's some guys that have been kind of in and out of practice with the questionable tag, but I don't know how many of them are actually not going to play. Like Micah Parsons is questionable, was a limited participant in practice. I think he probably plays.
If Micah doesn't play, though, that's just I think the Niners are definitely winning if Micah doesn't play.
I personally think he plays, though. I think that's more just giving him some rest. And then the two big O linemen on Dallas, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, non-participants in practice. They've been banged up for weeks. I think they'll probably play. I think that's also, again, just more of a precautionary thing. And then I guess also Malik Hooker, safety, questionable.
I also think I could see Dallas coming out and taking this game pretty personal, being sent home by the last few years in the play.
I feel like they beat them in the playoffs. They beat them last year, didn't they?
They beat them the last 2 years. It might be 3. I
feel like they beat them a few times, it seems.
Yeah. But
and then on the 49ers side, Debo's questionable, but he's always questionable. I feel like he'll suit up. And then Charvarius Ward's was a non-participant in practice. That would be a big loss, but we'll see if he plays or not. But I don't think that really changes my opinion. I think I'd still take the 49ers in that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna lean Niners, but I think the Cowboys could definitely come out and win this game. I think.
Cowboys are a good team. I don't think the Niners are gonna go undefeated. So this would be, if I had to pick a game for them to lose, this would probably be right up there.
No, good take. Are there any betting lines you're looking at for this week?
Yeah, got a couple picks ready to go here. Monday Night Football. Packers versus Raiders. Packers are plus 100 underdogs. Again, another pick by me. Don't know why the Raiders are favored against anybody, pretty much. So for the Packers to be plus money, I'm playing that personally. I think the Raiders suck. I think Josh McDaniels should be fired. And they've got some injury questions of their own. Like Adams is kind of banged up. Jimmy G's banged up. I guess the Packers are also pretty banged up. So,
but I don't know how they're favored, especially with Jimmy G probably not playing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, my opinion, there's not too many teams the Raiders should be favored over, and the Packers definitely aren't one of them.
Yeah.
Another play I like this week: Texans plus 105 against the Falcons. I don't think the Falcons are very good. I think C.J. Stroud is phenomenal. I could see him being one of the top QBs in the league here in the near future. He's breaking rookie QB records. I like the Texans coach. Some of their weapons have exceeded expectations. The one issue with the Texans is their offensive line is in shambles. They're basically down to second, third stringers at this point.
Yeah, Tunsil's hurt, isn't he? And he was the really.
I know Titus Howard was on IR, and he's I don't know if he's going to be playing, but he's trending towards playing soon. Hopefully he's playing, but I don't know. I don't think the Falcons are good, and the Texans O-line's been banged up all year, and C.J. Stroud's continued to make magic, so I'm going to rock with that. And then Gonna mix it up a bit here. Gonna throw in the first parlay on our weekly best bets. I'm parlaying Eagles minus 220 with Chiefs minus 180. Eagles are playing the Rams. Chiefs are playing the Vikings. Them two together is plus 126. The last year's Super Bowl matchup. Two top five teams, putting them together. I think that's good value.
Pretty solid play. All right, so to start my picks off, I was looking at the slate, and my Panthers are 10-point underdogs against the Lions, and I think that's an egregious line. I think the Panthers easily cover 10 points. I think Bryce Young gets his first NFL win, but 10 points, I think we at least cover 10 points. So I think that's a pretty good play.
Yeah, 10 points seems a bit steep, and I think the Lions are going to win, but 10 points does seem steep. I feel like there's also kind of, anytime you go against the Lions, I feel like there's a bit of value there just because the Lions seem to be like everyone's favorite team these days, and
yeah,
I feel like that kind of gets priced into the Lions a little.
And then last year with Darnold, we blew out the Lions when we played them late in the season too. So I think the Panthers match up well against the Lions. So I think we cover 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Another line I liked was Bengals -3 against the Cardinals. I think I was surprised that it was this little points. I know the Bengals are banged up, no T. Higgins, and Burrow's not even for sure to play. But as long as Burrow plays, I'm pretty confident they beat the Cardinals by at least a field goal.
Yeah, that line does seem like, and the money line too. I think it's like -160-ish.
Yeah.
Seems kind of low. I would also agree, but I think Burrow's ankle being mangled like it is, I think kind of is where the big influence comes in there.
Yeah. And my third line, I'm not confident. But, I don't know why I chose to bet in this team, but I just think that Zach Wilson's a bum and the Jets are poverty. I'm gonna go Broncos -2.5 against the Jets. Hopefully Russell Wilson can do his thing and get Judy some touches and not just look like a shambling team like they've looked for the first 4 weeks. But I just think Zach Wilson just is hot garbage and the worst quarterback in the league, and for him to only lose by a field goal, I think's value in itself. So that was the line I liked as well.
To be honest, I'm fading that pick. I think the Jets get this one done. I think the Jets defense is the best unit out of all the units in that game. Zach Wilson didn't play that bad against the Chiefs. He wasn't elite, but I wouldn't say, but he did a job. And I just think the Broncos defense is porous. I think Russell Wilson's washed. I think the Broncos are a bad team, and I don't think the Jets are a good team either, but I do think they get that win.
I think it's just two shit teams facing each other, and I'm taking the Broncos a little less than the Jets. It's kind of my thought process.
It's a stink fest for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You got any other thoughts to add?
Those are kind of the lines that stuck out to me, but that's kind of all I got for now. What about you?
Yeah, my Steelers got a big divisional game this week against the Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel. I am nervous. I should think they're gonna lose, especially after that awful performance last week. But I don't know.
Is Pickett
divisional I don't know. I feel like we've performed really well against the Ravens the past few years. Even when we shouldn't have. We had Mason Rudolph, and I think we still beat them. We played them really good, and I don't know. I do have a feeling that we might be able to pull it out. Probably a little irrational confidence, but I'm hoping we get the job done.
Is Pickett for sure playing?
He said he was going to be ready to go. I know he's dealing with an ankle injury, but
I just don't see a way.
I don't even think, even if he doesn't play, to be honest, I don't know how much that hurts us. I'm getting pretty close to have seen enough out of Kenny Pickett.
Really?
Yeah.
was thinking he might have like a little breakout this year, but after what I've
I
seen,
thought so too.
after what I've seen, I don't think so anymore.
I don't know. I'm not completely giving up, but there's a lot of good QBs in this draft class. If one or two of them fall, I wouldn't. If we could pick a QB in the second round, I wouldn't be upset.
One.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Nice.
All right, I guess we'll probably wrap up the episode there. Another big week of football, and we'll back with another episode next week.
Sir. Peace.